Hi, guys. This is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on The Supernatural Show, the show that is not for entertainment purposes only. Today, we are going to be taking a look, a look and a discussion at a recent 45-minute long documentary that I put out a few weeks ago. It was called Hidden Symbolism of the End. And mainly we're talking about the end of what we know as the United States of America. And there is hidden symbolism that there's a lot of it out there, just like there was before that thing that happened in September back in, what year, around the 11th. I think y'all guys can remember that. And there was a lot of hidden symbolism of that was coming. And there is hidden symbolism. I say hidden because it's right under your nose, really, which is the best place to hide anything, is in plain sight. So we're going to be taking a look at that and kind of going through the documentary. We'll skip through a little bit, certain pieces and stuff, but there's quite a bit in there that we want to talk about. And today I have a special guest with me here. But first off, Shannon and Dan. Shannon is driving right now, so she was unavailable to be here today. I wasn't feeling so great yesterday, so I didn't do a show yesterday. I apologize when I don't keep my schedule, but if you're just not feeling it, I'm not going to fake it. So, sometimes you have to push a day or two or whatever the case may be. Dan is, I think he is taking care of some kitties right now. And I want to send my love out to both of them, and hopefully we'll see them back here on the next show. But, when you bounce around on people's schedules, it can get annoying for them probably, although they've never said a word. But hopefully they understand. So now, I do have a special guest with me. Y'all guys, if you haven't seen him before, his name's Chris, or he goes by Chris, what his mama named him, but also he goes by Max, Maximus. And he's been on the show a couple of times with us. And Chris has been through a lot lately, a lot, similar to myself in some ways, to be quite honest. But we're having Chris on because he's a country boy now, and he don't care what nobody thinks about him. And that's a good thing, because we shouldn't care what other people think and modify our behavior because of it. We should just be who we are, and they like us or they don't. But Chris is a good man, and he has great knowledge. I don't know if you happen to remember or not, but I remember the first time that we spoke and how that happened. I actually heard you, I think you did a call-in on another show somewheres, and I heard you speak, and I was really impressed by the things your knowledge, a wide breadth of knowledge about things, and I was impressed. So I went and hunted you down and got a hold of you, if you recall. Chris has got a little bit of background noise, so he's going to have his mic muted unless he's actually trying to speak. So we can keep that background noise to a minimum. But Chris will be jumping in here and there to have a comment on what we're going to be doing. Yes, love. I thought there for a second you were doing the Illuminati tip of the spear. I was going to kick you off the show. Give you the old one of these. Let me see here. See if I got it handy. Where's it at? Oh yeah, this one. I was going to have to give you one of these. But luckily, Chris was just sending us the love signal
Well,
for tying that thing.
if I may, thank you so much for that, Daniel. Uh, I just want to say hey to Charlie. Charlie Rose, hey, darling. Thank you for joining us.
You
I
got a
love you, girl. You're
you got
an angel.
that we're in your back seat.
Thank you.
Oh, that's not a dinosaur. That's
I'm sorry.
that's your buddy. What's his name?
Yeah, that's Johnny.
Johnny. Yeah, that's right, Johnny. Yeah,
Johnny? Yeah,
my
yeah.
brother's name is Johnny.
Some days he's Johnny Rotten, some days he's Johnny Cash.
Right?
Yeah. He's
Well,
what,
guys,
an hour from you or so?
huh?
Let's talk about a pineapple.
Yes, we're going to do that. So let me go ahead and pull up the video that we're going to be watching because, again, for those of you just joining, we're going to be looking at a documentary, about a 45-minute long documentary that we're going to kind of move somewhat quickly through, but we're going to have some discussions about some of the things within it. The documentary was called Hidden Symbolism of the End, and it's morally referring to the United States as what we consider to be a nation, but it also is related to all nations because things are in the coming years, maybe even just months, but in the coming years, we're going to see the world order as we know of change because they're changing it. And they hide the symbolism of this, just like they did for that event back in September, back many years ago. That symbolism was put out ahead of time. It was there to be seen, but no one really picked up on it, until it happened, and then we could see it. But part of that has allowed me to gain the eyes, and also thanks to Father in heaven for giving me the eyes and improving my eyes to be able to see the symbolism of this. And so I can now see what's coming in the future from the knowledge that I've gained, and I know Chris can see a lot of this as well. So we're going to go ahead and pull up that documentary here. Let's see, where am I at? Okay, let me get it pulled up here. Okay, and let's go back over here to the beginning, and now let me share my screen, and we should be about ready to go. Let's see, which one is that? Here we go. Okay, and y'all guys are on the screen with us with the chat as well. We've got a lot of people saying hello, like Mike Smith saying hello to Max and Johnny, and Mike O'Shea from Alaska saying what's up, and Joe Kermasi, apologize if I said that wrong, Joe, said by 2030 there'll only be 500 million people left. That's their goal. Actually, the website that put that out said it was 2025, so next year there would only be oh, you're talking about globally. Oh, I see what you're saying, globally. And basically that's what they said. Still, it was next year, it was 2025. What was the name of that website? I'm trying to remember, but they put it out and then they hid it, but you can still find it on the Wayback Machine, the archive.
Deagle.com. Deagle.com.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it was, Deagle.com. But you can't go to their website and find it now. You have to go back to the Wayback Machine and look back around 2015, 2013. And you can find it. Basically, what they did was put out statistics saying that population of, well, it named all the countries. And for instance, the United States, they say we've got about 330, which I find that number 33 quite the quinkadink to say we've got 333 million people in the United States. But they're saying it's going to drop by like 4/5 by next year. And we've all certainly seen a lot of flies dropping, right? People dropping like flies. And so we know that it's happening. Will it continue and happen that fast? Well, the event that we're going to actually prophesy about today is an event that we will see come to fruition. I've been talking about it for a decade. And this is a documentary looking at it from one perspective of how we can see the hidden symbolism of that event taking place right in, and the symbolism is basically right in front of our faces. We've got access to everything that I'm going to show you here right at our fingertips, but you have to go find it, have a question to know what to go look for, and then be able, once you can see it, see how it fits. And the documentary, The Hidden Symbolism of the End, right here, that's on my channel if you want to go back and watch the entire thing if you have not seen it. But it has done pretty well. It's got about 20,000 views. And for my shadow ban channel, which that means YouTube does not notify people about my videos when they go out, only about 5% of my 100,000 people gets a notification when I put out a video. And then they don't share it in the recommended videos on YouTube. So if you don't share it, or if you don't see it, nobody sees it. So I would encourage you to share this video. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and take link to it and drop it in the comments here so that everybody has access directly to the actual link to the documentary. And that is now in the comments. So let's go ahead and jump into the video itself. And Chris, you're going to have to let me know if you can hear this okay. Because if you can hear it okay, it means everybody else can. So let me know if you hear it when I start playing it here. And hopefully we don't get too many ads.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
In this presentation, I will be dispelling lies and heavy delusional beliefs that have been falsely. Okay, Chris, can you hear that okay? All right, good. All right, let's keep going. Seated in the minds of the people of the world about events that have happened over the past 100 years and how those secrets, aka cover-ups, are playing a major role in the world around us to this day. Secret cover-ups, secret weapons, secret societies, and secret agendas of the Illuminati and the New World Order will be disclosed all throughout this presentation, along with multiple facets of hard evidence, demonstrative evidence, circumstantial evidence, and historical video and photographic evidence. The preponderance of this evidence will bring multiple fantastic realities clearly into the light of truth for all to see for the first time. Sit back, open your mind, and you will discover what they have been lying to you about all along, and some of the satanic occult secret plans for humanity, as well as you will be able to see events happening around you today clearly for what they are for the first time in your life.
The truth is, behind closed doors, the P word became my secret sin at age 10. And for the next 17 years of my life, what I did in the incognito tab made me feel like
Got to have those commercials, of course. In the 21st century, while one is actively in the search for truth, one must be willing to look where they cannot normally see. Right under the nose and cloaked in symbolism and veiled quite perfectly to the uninitiated observer. Right there to be seen, yet never seen. The observer of this video and the truths, decodes, and concepts presented within must be willing to toss out all preconceived ideas of what anything and or everything means and start anew. If unable or unwilling to do this, there is no need for you to continue any further into this presentation. For you have already accepted the provided version of reality interwoven into your mind from when you were just an innocent child, quite similar to an empty hard drive on a computer. It, or rather you, knows absolutely nothing that has not been programmed into it by many nefarious outside influences.
albeit some believing themselves to be of good intention. They too believe the untrue and deceptive delusional version of the reality that they presented to you as bona fide, self-evident reality. So then, without questioning everything you think you know about the perceived reality you believe you exist in, you will remain stuck in the matrix of Oz, following the yellow brick road, seeking a fictitious savior until the clock runs out on your time and chance to unravel the mirage of the corporal reality you find yourself in today. Our dive down the proverbial rabbit hole today starts with a look at a very important scene from a computer-animated dystopian view of our past, current, and future timelines, all planned and will be orchestrated, if successful, by the group of aforementioned self-named Illuminati. The specific scene in question is where Lily sits in the classroom surrounded by 12 egg-headed classmates, symbolic of 12 stars in a crown, 12 months in a year, and or 12 numerals on a clock. In a twisted symbolic mirroring of Revelations 12, Lily sits in a pure white dress, holding Adam's seed, the apple, and a sad, defeated type of demeanor on her face. Lily has the moon under her feet and 12 classmates symbolically on her head. In the background, there is a buck deer in the rut, which happens normally October 23rd to November 1st, charging forth, and a buck rabbit glaring towards the end of the year. All the other children in the classroom are bored and showing signs of sickness and currently having a loose snare of barbed wire symbolizing the coming kidnapping and trapping of the children in the schools. A glaring red exit door stands out, symbolizing a short time still remains for escape from the impending release of the snare, imprisoning the children until they and their parents can prove that they are safe, aka jabbed, and can now go home. Yet now, never to reach their true father or true home. The apple drops at midnight and rolls across the Masonic chessboard floor, stopping by Obama's boot that sits atop a coin with a visible crown from approximately 50.
All right, I'm going to stop right there for a second because I continue to think about these things, okay? And, you know, when we're talking about how we've got the woman clothed in the sun with the moon under her feet and all this, I said, okay, to myself, I said, well, where's the dragon? And then the seed rolls across the floor and it hits Obama's foot that is in a leather boot, which is like a serpent skin almost. And I realized that Obama is the dragon. And so I just wanted to share that Obama, of course, Barack Obama means I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning, is basically the translation. When I think it's Hebrew, when you go back and translate to Hebrew, it's Barack Obama or Obama. And so, yeah, he is the dragon, or at least the Antichrist, not Antichrist. He's the dragon. We'll just leave it at that for now. Okay, let's keep going.
1520, minted on the order of King Henry VIII, 500 years ago, demonstrating power and planning across time and identifying the lineage of bloodline at play and still in power now. As well, Lily has a red rose behind her ear, symbolizing the Tudor rose King Henry VII made famous by incorporating its design into coinage of the dynasty, again identifying lineage of bloodline. The apple splits, and from a seed on each side, join together, and a lotus flower emerges and blooms. My theory starts out like this. I know that the symbolism of an apple dropping could be tied to Times Square in New York City, and know that at least 2 clocks are depicted in iPad Go-To and are on the 12 midnight position. As well, the last 2 classmates on the right side in the 11 and 12 o'clock positions have a small dent in the head and then a bigger dent in the head of the figure in the 12 o'clock or December position. Could these dents represent explosions? Possibly. However, for sure, these as a preponderance further confirms we might be looking at an explosion in Manhattan on a New Year's Eve, as well as possible others at other points in time, which I will speak to later. Other symbolism throughout iPad goats, such as the skeleton man depicted in the video, also wears a top hat and blows a kazoo while fireworks are exploding in the background. All three symbolize the moment of the new year ringing in at Times Square in New York City, bringing the total components of circumstantial evidence elements of interest to a total of at least 7, 8 if you count the lights going out prior to the apple drop. Symbolizing the apple drop is at night, thereby disqualifying 12 noon as a possible 12th position on the clock. 9 when you account for the New York City pin in the map on the classroom wall to the left behind Bush and Obama. Additional elements.
I'll keep going here in a second, but I want to mention in that animated video I picked out, there was also the scene that shows the Statue of Liberty, and with the arm on the Statue of Liberty falling off and the sky above it spinning. And in that same scene, there is a handgun in that scene. It looks like ice, but it's a gun, and it's in that scene as well. So there is an element of a handgun involved as well, which I think it all ties into this fall of New York, which has to do with the fall of the leader of the slaves of this country, which is Donald Trump. And his fall that is coming, and has already been shown that it is on the way by the previous attempt, or at least the previous stage act of where he was shown to have been nipped in the ear recently. Chris, if you have any thoughts too at this point, you're welcome to share them, or we can keep going.
Will be identified as
keep going, Daniel. I do, but yeah. Go ahead, continue, Daniel.
If you've got something specific, you're welcome to share it, because once we get past it, it'll be kind of hard to come back to it.
The whole time we're discussing, or we're talking about September 23rd, 2017. We literally watched the sun at her shoulder, baby hun, the moon at her feet, the 3 wandering stars in her Leo to give her 12 jewels in her crown, and then we watched Jupiter leave her, the Virgin, after 9 months of retrograde and go straight into Okafukus. Now, a side note, I was born December 4th, full moon in Okafukus. So that is truly my lunar zodiac sign. And we are the serpent slayers. That's what I think about when you're talking about that. And I believe the 7 years of tribulation started at that point in time.
That would be a fair possible consideration. It either started then, or it either started basically around March of 2020, basically. One of the two.
You know what's really, when you say March, when we started September 23rd, 2017, the exact midway point to the day is Ides of March. 3.5 years later. 3.5 years later, 2017, 21.
Oh, 21.
21 or 20, 3.5 years, dead center. We land on the Ides of March. And what do we find out about that? Caesar was killed. Why was he killed? Because he demanded all 100 contracts be filed with him, not with the council. So the council killed him.
Right. The money changers, the Senate people.
Mm-hmm. And that's dead center from 2017 September, which confirms Book of Revelations, 12. Again, secondly, plus everything we've seen. I mean,
and in the midst of the week, Trump also made a contract with the Arabian countries, between Israel and the Arabian countries. They made a peace and safety contract, and they put in the Abraham Accords, is what it was called.
Yep.
And that was in the midst of the week, meaning the middle of the week. That came just the previous, before that March, the previous August, I believe it was, of 2019 is when they made that agreement, the Abraham. I believe that's correct. So, yeah, we're probably pretty much right on the timeline. So, all right, so let's keep going.
Back to our will be identified as we continue our investigation. Moving now back to our central items of interest, the apple and the blooming lotus flower. I thought that if indeed the apple drop was represented in an event in New York City on New Year's Eve, that if I looked closer at the apple and lotus, as it may be possible, symbolism for the nuclear explosion. So I started digging further. What I found and continue to find was nothing short of shocking to behold. With continued research, I found that the splitting of the apple has and is used to represent the splitting of the atom. Yet instead of just splitting the atom, scientists discovered that if they combined forcefully together the nucleuses of plutonium, that they could produce what is called the neutron bomb, where more energy is released with more damage, yet less radioactive fallout due to the non-use of the fission of uranium to produce the ignition. Interestingly, in Switzerland, at a nuclear research facility, 9 apples can be found surrounding the grounds of the facility, all different sizes carved out of all different types of stones. At the entrance of the facility, the largest apple can be found split in half, just like an iPad Go-To. Just inside the doorway, the smallest apple can be found sitting on a pedestal. The pedestal has a hole drilled through it, and if you look through the hole, you will see the big apple split perfectly in half. Additionally, numerous books have been authored with the titles such as The Nuclear.
And what is New York City called? It's called the Big Apple.
Apple, and The Nuclear Apple, and The Solar Orange, as well as the book series with a part titled Shot, Apple II, a test of the Teapot series, 5th of May 1955, which discusses an atmospheric nuclear detonation of the nuclear weapon. Written about a series of nuclear tests during 1955. One specifically was called the Apple II test, part of the Operation Teapot series of the nuclear tests.
Did you know Amazon has a $50 million fund that they have to pay out every month? And here,
Okay, so before I play that, Chris, because I'm not going to play much of it, obviously the word Operation Q brings a certain psychological, I would just straightly call it psychological warfare event that's been used to entrap the minds of a lot of the followers of King Trump, or should we call him Pharaoh Trump? Now, understand, if you're listening to this, I would say the same exact thing about Biden or Clinton or Obama or Bush or Reagan or all of them, to be quite honest with you, because they're all cousins. They're all part of the same bloodline. They come from the same apple, you might say. And Chris, tell us a little bit about Q, what you know about that.
Firstly, I can assure everyone here that Daniel and I are not caught up in the left-right paradigm. We left that quite a while ago.
Right.
It's all theater. It's kabuki theater, and you and I know that. Now, when you want to talk about Q, all right. IBM occupies a 58-story tower that happens to match Donald Trump's residential 58-story tower. Okay, so those are matching towers on Fifth Avenue, and IBM occupies the second tower. They also run the D-Wave supercomputers that run today. See, they replaced all the 20th century in 2013 with these D-Wave computers that are working off of black goo. That is the Akashic record, they claim. And that is called Q. IBM calls that Computer Integrated Systems Q. And it is the algorithmic AI that has captured the minds of many false, I'm gonna call them false Christians. Because I mean, if you think that man has any Christian values, well, you're lost. I feel sorry for you.
Unfortunately, so. Yeah, you can't talk the way the man.
If you look into that, yes, sir. I'm sorry. If you would like to, you can. If you want to put this, this is very important. This will show you exactly what I'm referring to. You typed into your search bar at YouTube, IBM Q, and then scroll down until you find a black picture, whatever you call them, a black picture with a big white Q in it. It's 1 minute and 7 seconds long. That's 17. That's Q. Watch it. They'll show you exactly what they're doing with these computers. And then wait a minute, what's his name? Georgie Rose, I believe his name is. He's the one that put those together and deployed them in 2013 and took them live. So we're no longer working on those old computers, y'all. These are super, super fast D-Wave.
Maybe they call computers. It in reference to quantum.
Say that again.
Maybe they call it Q. It might have something to do with the word quantum. Or it's probably
all right, of course, yeah. Actually, it goes back to the nobles. If you'll notice, all your noble families that are registered with the Royal and Ancient Courts of Settlement, they have a logo or a family crest that is a circle with a dash. It's a Q. So they're referring back to the nobles as well.
And there's your IBM. There's your quantum computer right there with the IBM Q on it. Just like you said, we found.
Yep.
There it is.
Now the word quantum is important too, y'all. What quantum means is to count, to calculate, to be countable, to be accountable. Well, now, can you count love? Can you put love in your hand and count? Can you put hate, envy? See, these are God's attributes. They're hiding that with the quantum, which is all atomistic. Well, before the atom is formed, it's God's voice, and they're hiding God's voice from future generations with this quantum crap. It's crap, is what it is.
Yeah,
it hides the creator.
I agree with what they're doing using like this technology. Is they're trying to be like God, and they can use this technology to achieve certain levels of that and imitating, because that's all they can do is imitate, and which is what all Satan can do is imitate. He can't create, and that really bothers them.
Right.
They truly can't create, and so they're doing everything they can to figure out how to create. So it says IBM Quantum System 1. So this is the blue box computer that Max was talking about there. So, all right. Any other thoughts?
Note the cube. Note it's all in a cube.
Yep.
That black you see, that's black. Yeah. So we have cube symbolism.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, it's outrageous. Now you do know that IBM. Now, just another point about IBM. They did the computer cards that did the census for the Nazis in World War II.
Say that again.
And that's IBM won the contract for the census for the Nazis during World War II.
Oh, wow.
They're the ones that knew who everybody was. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. See, I mean, this is the Fifth Reich. Is this the fourth?
Hey, Chris.
I'm sorry?
Look at the windows inside
Yes,
this.
sir.
Look at the windows in the room here with the cube computer. They've got saints on the walls in the windows, the rose windows here.
They do, don't they? They sure do. Uh-huh.
It looks like
Looks
saints.
almost as if we're in a church.
Yeah, it's very temple-ish or churchish. Mm-hmm. And that's, of course, that's what it would be. Looks like we lost Chris for a minute. He'll be back here in a minute, I'm sure. There he comes.
What happened?
There we go. You're back.
Plug in or something.
Okay,
cool.
So yeah, that makes total sense that they would. This would be like a temple, because this is like their god. They're creating their own god to go to war against the one and only God, our Creator. So yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to our documentary. I'm gonna skip forward through that shows the old footage here, and move on up here towards well, the next area. Let's see where it's at right here. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. And of course, commercial.
This game.
Hang on.
You're not.
Of course.
This is what you see. A big round explosion similar to an apple with some spikes or thorns sticking out of it, which I found fascinating. An interesting side note is that this footage and all footage of prior nuclear testing was just released 2 years ago for the first time, including the TheSupernatural.Show test of the claimed largest nuclear test ever released, as well by Russia around the same time. It's just the things that make you go, So now I continued further down the rabbit hole and took a look at how the weapons themselves are designed and where the plutonium and uranium comes from. And this is what I discovered. Nearly almost all plutonium and uranium comes from a single mine in the Congo of Africa. The area of the mine's location and the mine itself are called Shinkolabwe, which when broken down I estimate to mean as follows. Shin, the 21st letter of the Hebrew alphabet, is considered to look like or represent a crown, corona, or fire, and is defined as meaning the eternal flame. See, that's the 21st letter of the Hebrew alphabet. 21 is a very important number for them, like as in, what was it called? Event 201. Yeah, this is, they call it Operation this and Operation that, but that was called Event 201. And of course, you don't look at the zeros. The zeros are always dropped because they're nothing. So you got the 21. And when you got Bitcoin, for instance, there's 21 million coins or billion coins or whatever it is. The 21, once again, because Bitcoin, if you don't know, is controlled by the same people that control everything else. Because all powerful people don't allow other people to figure something out like that and be able to get away with it for any time period. It's all controlled by the same people. So let's keep going. Or fire, and it's defined as mean or represent a crown, corona, or fire, and it's defined as meaning the eternal flame, or that contains eternal fire. Kolab is a term that is considered to translate to the place where God lives, or the center of all creation. Way is a term that simply means the way. So then, altogether, one can see the possible intended meaning of the name Shinkolabwe. the way to the eternal flame where God lives, which of course is just my best translation attempt to see the intent of the name. It is interesting to ponder about because in a way it's like saying that God lives in the fire, or is the fire, or possibly more appropriately, God is the point of energy for all of existence. Once you understand what fire is, think transformation, creation, frequency, calories, light, the sun. Alternatively, it is recorded that the area of Shinkolagwe got its name from the name of a thorny fruit shaped like an apple, a type of fruit that when boiled retains the heat for an extended period of time, and if squeezed a period of time later, you will still get a burn from the juice of that thorny fruit. As a side note, all of the plutonium and uranium harvested from the mine in the beginning were shipped to Staten Island, New York, as part of the development of the nuclear weapon for the Manhattan Project. Okay, so we have a...
So it's interesting. They took all of the explosives to Manhattan, developed it there, the Manhattan Project, destroyed various places and various things, and then end up they're going to use it against themselves in the same location, but technically not against themselves. It's really just against us to destroy our ability or destroy the reality of what we believe to be the United States of America. But that will become more clear as we continue on in the documentary here. So let's do that.
Project, as part of the development of the nuclear weapon for the Manhattan Project. Okay, so we have a mine named after a thorny fruit that looks like an apple. And we have a nuclear aerial test that looks like a thorny fruit, kind of like an apple. And we have the I-Pic-O2 apple split like an atom being split with a thorny looking flower on top. Isn't that interesting? Speaking of the thorny looking flower, the lotus flower, since we know the splitting of the apple is tied to nuclear, then the lotus flower may be tied too. So I took a look, and here's what I found.
Check this out. State Farm was charging me $179 for auto insurance per month. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
If you've been around for a while on my channel, you will know that the Illuminati types of this world use gematria, which was created based on 3D imagery, but more specifically, the mathematical resonant equations of the Hebrew words and language that can be found in the toroidal energy field flow that surrounds the earth.
Let me explain this. If you take a torus, the Hebrew language, because they understood that the world and everything in this world is modeled after heaven, which is looks very similar to a torus, although I haven't been there yet that I remember. But the letters actually were pulled out of the torus, the image that you're looking at right there. Let me let it play a little bit further.
You and me and everything in God.
So they created the Hebrew language out of the energetic flows in the torus. This is a fact, okay? And so, yeah, I just want to make sure you understood that. Not you, Chris, but everybody listening, and you if you didn't know that.
That surrounds the earth, you and me and everything in God's creation, and it is the eternal flame aforementioned. If we look at the resonant mathematical results for the words lotus flower, this is the resonant number assigned to that group of letters. Now let us look and see what has the same resonant vibratory number. September the 11th, Twin Towers, One World Order, 201.
Now I'm going to pause right there because I have something pretty trippy to show you that it's an addition. I didn't realize I was going to be showing this, but I am. because I just realized something that I was looking at earlier. What was it? Earlier today, I think it was, where I was looking at the current presidential candidates, because I know the current presidential candidates, their names, the symbolism of that they have surrounding them would, and their gematria that is of their names and such, would be tied to what I'm talking about right here. So I just showed you just now that several of these things, let me back it up just a second here.
Like One World Order, September name, resonant, vibrant.
So lotus flower, okay, and this, we'll keep going.
Tory number.
So lotus flower matches September the 11th, and it matches several other things here.
September the 11th, Twin Towers, One World Order, 201.
There's that 201 again that we just mentioned a few minutes ago. And of course, we also just mentioned the September thing just a few minutes ago. But look at this as well. I'm going to pull it up here in just a second as soon as it'll allow me. If it will allow me. Okay, let me move this up here for one thing. And it should hopefully work here in a minute. It's being a pain in the butt, guys. Come on, come on, come on. Bring it back off that screen and see if I can get it to work. Let me just try to tell you, okay? Okay, we've got 201 here, as you can see on the screen, and it has a simple gematria value, a resonant value. We're talking about frequency, actually. And it is, these are also a match for Trump Kennedy, okay? The words Trump Kennedy match these exact things, like lotus flower, okay? And 201, and the other things that we were talking about there, like September the 11th and so on. They all match that, and they also match, like I just stated, Trump Kennedy, okay? And why am I saying that? Well, I'm saying that because Vance is not going to be the VP candidate. Yeah, they're saying that right now, but Vance is not going to be the VP candidate when it comes election day. It's going to be Kennedy. That's my bet, okay? And I'm making that bet based on numerous reasons, okay? But just simply one is the fact that the gematria matches up with everything that's going on, because Trump Vance does not match up with anything, but Trump Kennedy matches up with everything that we're heading into and that Trump is going to take us into. And that app is it going to work yet or not? It's not. I might be able to get lucky enough to restart it real quick, give Chris a chance to come back because he dropped out there. Don't believe that's what I was looking for. Nope. Sorry, guys. We'll get going again here in just a second. And there's Chris back. I'll grab him in just a second. I'm trying to find this app again that I just had going for us here. I'll get you in a second, Chris. Okay. There's Chris again. I'm trying to restart that app. What I was saying, and you might have missed it, is that Trump Kennedy matches 201 also, and matches September the 11th and all these things, Chris. So I was saying that Vance is not going to be the VP candidate. They're saying he is right now, but Kennedy's going to be the VP candidate. And I'd be willing to put some money on that one. So let's keep going, and if this app decides to work again, I'll pull up the actual images of what I was talking about, but let's keep going.
like Event 201.
If I may, can I make a point?
Yeah.
New York, Newt.
And there's another one that it matches as well. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. May I make a point real quick? Yeah, okay. Let's see, where was it? Right. Event 201. It's Event 21, y'all.
Right.
Because it correlates with Event 2030. That's the globe. That's not a zero. And in Gematria, we throw the zeros out. 9-year cycles. Why are they going with 9-year cycles? Because that's what the sun is a 9-year cycle. You go 9, 18, 36, 3600 years. We're at a 3600 year age change. We are in Aquarius. We left, and that's at 3600, and that's where we're getting this great global reset. Because we're going from Event 21 to Event 30. And it's already set up.
Yes, it is. The dominoes are already on the board. All you got to do is tip them over. And they basically already have, but they're just waiting on the next domino to fall. And because it's in motion, for sure. Those are good points, Chris.
If we go to John Hopkins and we type into their search bar, SPARS, that's with a P. Now I got to be careful with these words, okay? So we're going to go with the DVOC, invert 91. Okay, all right. May of 2025 is when that is to be deployed as a tabletop worldwide event, which is exactly what started the last 4 years.
Right. Yeah.
And you can read the PDF for yourself at John Hopkins. And it's a SPARS is what they're not, just put a P after the S. And there you are. That's the next shoe to drop according to who is running this operation. That's out of
Are you talking
John
about
Hopkins.
They're also called Sears 2025?
I don't know. That I'm not familiar with.
It's that.
I mean, if you go to the John Hopkins website and type it in, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The PDF is still there. They're not scared of this stuff being out there because people don't believe it.
Right.
Yep.
And even if they do, they won't act on it because they believe they have no power.
Right. Exactly. And most people think they have to tell us these things. No, they don't. No. It makes the magic that much more powerful. Plus, it gives implied consent when we do not revolt. When they show us what they're about to do to us, and we do not revolt against it, that's implied consent. Secondly, it increases the power of their magic. They don't have to tell us anything. Devil don't have to tell you anything.
Tell me that word that you were saying. Spell it.
Which one?
SPARS.
SPARS. SPARS.
And what else do I need to type in to run?
SPARS.
That's it?
PDF SPARS event 2025 or tabletop event 2025 SPARS.
Let's see what we get.
See if it's still on their site. It's been a couple of years since I witnessed it on their site. Like Deagle, they took down that. Deagle took that down about 3 years ago. My understanding is the guy that ran Deagle died, and that's when they took down that. I don't know that. That's what I heard.
Here's what came up for that. It says SPARS pandemic scenario, which came up.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Tabletop event.
Yep. So it's
That's what we look forward to. Yep. It's still there.
Go there and check this out. Matter of fact, I'm going to save it because I'm going to look at it again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We could do 3 or 4 shows on that, brother.
Right.
We might be endangering the channel. But,
right.
Yeah, they gotta be careful. We're in dangerous territory right now.
Yeah, that's why we're going to keep going here. All right.
Heard that, Daniel. Hell yeah. I ain't scared. I'm on my 21st channel. I ain't scared.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna start playing the video again, Chris.
I'm going to move.
So the elites use this The Kabbalist Satanists of the elites used this method and its high magic. They wrote the language of the world, and thereby they control the resonant frequencies coming off the tongue of the high majority of humanity. The tongue is a sword according to biblical text. Think about it.
So I'm going to say that again, but in a different way. The English language, like most languages, but the English language was written so that way when we're talking, we're manifesting using the words that they say for us to speak English, because English is one of the most recent developed languages on the planet when it comes to a spoken language. And it was designed and created for this time. For most people, just like in China and Japan, English is a required language to learn. They want it to be the one world language. But when they developed and created the English language, they did it in a way so that they were controlling the creative manifestive function of our mouths. So if you get what I'm trying to explain to you. So, all right, with that being said, we'll keep going.
Is a sword according to biblical text. Think about it. Now let's look at the word apple and see how it resonates with our subject. America, snake, Donald, Baron, and finally Shin. So we are back to Shin, which is the word for eternal flame, as I previously stated. Are you starting to see how this works yet? I'll show you a bit more later at the end of the video. Too much math or gematria tends to make people's heads hurt. Now, after that bit of mind-melting information, here is another clincher, or clinchers. We are still speaking about the lotus flower, and if it is related in any way to a nuclear explosion. Take a look at what the crosscut of a nuclear bomb looks like. That's right. It is an exact match for the lotus flower. Here are several other images showing what I am saying. Now melt your mind a bit with pure evidential raw truth. Take a look at this cross-section of the toroidal field. Yep, lotus flower. The nuclear bomb is designed based off of God's design of life itself, the toroidal field design and energy flow. It's all starting to come together.
Isn't that incredible? That is just still blows my mind that the Holy Spirit allowed me to see and understand those things. Hallelujah. Now let the truth be told.
Daniel, what you have seen blows my mind on the regular, brother. Man, it amazes me how our lives mirror one another. It truly, when we first, remember when people thought we were the same person running two channels? You remember that?
Yeah, I remember. People thought we were
crazy
two dudes.
Yep.
Yep. Indeed.
That's how closely we, the things were mirroring and whatnot. I found it ironic.
Well, when you're one of Father's chosen 144,000, it is what it is, and we've known each other forever. This is just a sidetrack being here in this world.
We've known each other forever. Wow. You're right.
Well, don't that explain some things?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why we spoke to each other like we knew each other all our lives from the moment go.
Right. Because we have. And that's why the people that are gathered here in the comments, there are many of the 144,000 here, if not all, many of them. And that's why they resonate and can hear what we're saying, and they can listen. That's why the disciples were with Christ, is because they could hear and understand. They were the chosen during that time period as well. All right, let's keep going.
Isn't it? Well, I promise you, you have not seen anything yet. By the end of this video, your current state of mind.
Chris, will you mute?
Certainly.
Thank you, brother.
and will be in awe of the level of eyes our beautiful Creator has given me the ability to be able to see and show you the truth. However, I will say it is you, my supporters, who give me the time by supporting my work to do the research and edit all this together so I can show it to the world. Okay, continuing on down the rabbit hole, we also see politicians using the lotus as a word connected with a nuclear explosion, as in this report where the Deputy Chief Minister of Pakistan says, pressing the lotus button will mean a nuclear bomb will be dropped on Pakistan.
He also said, I don't think I read this part, but this is what he said, okay? He said, if people press the lotus symbol, it will mean a nuclear bomb has been automatically dropped on Pakistan. And then he goes on to say he believes during an upcoming election that I believe the lotus will definitely bloom in the upcoming elections. You know, they all, these guys at certain levels in the hierarchy system, the pyramid, they all know what the plans are. You say, well, Pakistan's an enemy. No, just the people think they are. The people at the top are all working to control all nations and all peoples and all tongues. It's only a foolish person that allows themselves to believe for a second that the ones at the top are not of the same mind and of the same purpose. There is no country that's free from that on this planet. Hasn't been for a long time.
The truth is getting plain to see at this point. Now let's back it up further. What is it that Obama is afraid of? He is looking at the apple split with the lotus blooming, and he is clearly afraid. Well, let's hear it from Obama himself.
Before I play that, I thought about this clip, and I thought about if he is relevant in the scene of the girl clothed in the sun, moon under her feet, and the apple rolls across the floor. That's the seed that's going to be caught up to heaven, right? At least that's the way it's described in the Bible. And I said, where's the dragon? And I said, oh, well, here's Barack Obama. I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning. And then I thought, well, why is he appearing to be afraid? And yeah, I know that it's possible it's just the mechanical symbolism needed in order to portray the message that's being portrayed in this animated dystopian video from 2013. It's called I Pet Goat. But I wondered if there may be a different reason that I was missing, because it's like, why is he afraid if he is symbolism or whatever for Satan or the dragon in this video? Why would he be afraid of the seed rolling over, opening up and splitting and a explosion? Is that the end? Is oh Lord, thank you, Father. Is he afraid because that's the end of his run? Is that where the fear comes from? He knows that when all this happens, that the season for him will be over, that we'll get through the tribulation and his time will be ended, where God and Christ come down with the angels and defeat them. There's likely more of the truth. Thank you, Father. All right, let's keep going here.
The number one national security threat to the United States. I continue to be much more concerned when it comes to our security with the prospect of a nuclear weapon going off in Manhattan. Just the smallest amount of plutonium, about the size of an apple, could kill and injure hundreds of thousands of innocent people. Terrorist networks such as Al-Qaeda have tried to acquire the material for a nuclear weapon, and if they ever succeeded, they would surely use it.
You guys should know that these devils, just like this man is here, that there's no possibility that he is not referring to the apple over and over. And then he mentions Manhattan and knowing what we know now about the apple being tied to plutonium and explosive devices and such, and the Lotus. And I mean, put it this way, I know prophecy that this is going to happen. Sorry about the commercial.
Do you think Obama chose the word apple on purpose or just by chance, knowing what you know now?
About the size of an apple.
Of course he chose it because he knows the plan for New York City. How about Trump? Is he concerned about nuclear weapons? Here's an example. Playboy magazine interview.
Where's that background noise coming from? Okay, let's keep going.
Asked about what it would be like with him as president in the future. His first thought to discuss.
Literally his first thing in the interview, when they mentioned about what if he was president, he immediately went to nuclear war, nuclear weapons being used in the interview. Before he talked about how rich he was and bragged about how many women he shagged and all this kind of stuff, he went straight to nuclear war. And there's zero chance that it is not on purpose, because he knows that he is the one that will be in power, because he's going to get elected again, even though it's going to be quite the show for him to go into office, that it's going to be part of his destiny is to be the tip of the spear, which is to be in power at the moment this country falls. I am 100% positive.
Yes, was nuclear war. Here are the quotes.
I'm actually going to skip past this part because I pretty much explained it. If you want to see it completely, you can go again, watch the documentary, the entire thing if you want. I just dropped the link to it in the comments again.
Question of the 3,000.
I'm just jumping forward.
For president, and when asked about the future with him as president, again he states, I often think of nuclear war. And then he says, I've always thought about the issue of nuclear war. It's a very important element in my thought process.
Why is that an important element in his thought process? I mean, come on. I know you guys can see this.
And that I read the story and seal the deal that I am 100% right about what I've been showing you for the last 30 minutes. But first, I have a few more pieces of the puzzle picture to reveal. So who is going to be the fall guy for this attack? Russia, Iran, North Korea, some other terrorists living in caves? Or will they blame it on an internal anti-government group of middle-aged white men?
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there.
I mean, they're laughing about something that killed millions of people, millions even of children and women that we love so much. I mean, and they're just making jokes about it.
Maybe under here.
Or maybe just a malfunction of an old, out-of-date firing system that mistakenly starts a war, kind of like Trump spoke about in his Playboy interview. Honestly, I'm not sure yet. But here is an image of Kim Jong-un standing next to what is said to be a nuclear device being compared to us.
Actually, the way that I see it playing out now is actually laid out in iPad Go, which is, you can see in the beginning scenes of iPad Go, that there is the symbolism of a shark, and it's moving through the waters off to the left of the those tower thingies that come crumbling down there in the first scenes. And you can see the shark, and the scene starts backing out, but the shark itself gets bigger. It's the only thing in the scene that increases in size as you get further away. It's showing you, if you're paying attention, that it's a shark. Now, what is a shark? A shark is a nuclear submarine. You can go look that up. There are many of them named Shark. And we're talking about probably like Iran, North Korea. But really what we're talking about is the beast, that the woman who sits on the back, because we're part of the whore of Babylon. We live in Babylon. We may not be of it, but we're here for now. And so there was a beast she was on that had 10 horns, and the 10 horns are 10 kings. And these 10 kings are 10 countries that hate the whore, that hate the United States, that hate not just the United States, but they hate England and all this stuff. They're the red countries. They're the red dragon. You're talking red China, you're talking red North Korea, talking red Venezuela, you're talking red Cuba, you're talking all these red dragon countries. And yet even the red dragon is used by England as their symbolism as well, like the king. King Charles and his coat of arms has got the red dragon on it, and the symbolism of the end on it. As a matter of fact, we're going to be getting into him very, very soon, because his funeral preparations are being said to be being made, and the name of the funeral preparations, they're calling it Operation something like, and I guess I could double check it real quick just to make sure. This is going to kind of blow your mind a little bit, and it's a sign of what is coming with his death. Operation, let's see here, King Charles Operation Mania Bridge. Yep, that's what it's called, Operation Mania Bridge. Now, all it's like, okay, Mania Bridge, what is that? Well, I'm doing in-depth research into it. I'm going to do a full-blown video investigation on Operation Mania Bridge. But I can tell you right now that Mania, M-E-N-A-I, Operation Mania Bridge. Mania means mania or chaos. So you've got the bridge, the Operation Chaos Bridge, or the Operation Mania Bridge. So the king's death will be linked directly to things going completely off the hook. And his death is near. It's already calculated. It's already known. They even know. And it's just a matter of time. But I'm gonna really look into that for you, so that you'll be aware too as well. So if you're not subscribed to my channel here by this point, I hope you would subscribe, because I'm going to be revealing the hidden things behind that as well, coming up very soon. All right, unless Chris has something to say, we'll keep going here. All right.
Soccer ball. Interesting what it looks like, isn't it? Kind of like that thorny fruit or apple look to it, doesn't it? And here we have Putin giving Trump a soccer ball, which
they're the other red country. Okay, so they're one of the horns, one of the kings who hate the whore.
He says we'll go to his son Barron. Could this be a timeline signal that the event is far off in the future? Let's hope so, but I'm not so sure about that. The reset that is underway is now and over likely the next 5 or 10 years.
This is the scene from the Great Reset that the World Economic Forum put out. I'm not going to watch through that. Most of you've seen it, and if you haven't, you can go watch it in the documentary or just pull it up. It's still on YouTube. So let's move forward here. They've got all the chaos things going on, blaming it all on us, of course.
Join large-scale battles with military vehicles. The online action game War Thunder has received a major update. Direct hit. Joining the battle.
Over the past, okay, let's get back on track. As we have seen over the past decades, when the Illuminati have had a big play at hand, prior to the event, they will run drills or live exercises. Operation Gotham Shield was held in New York City on April of 2017 and New Jersey in the following months as well. Numerous other drills and live exercises have been held as well. Currently, a full-scale live pandemic exercise is being ran worldwide by most of the population believes it's real and has no clue as to what it is really about.
The Chinese government was the first to know of this risk to the world. And that puts a special obligation to make sure that data gets to our scientists, our professionals. This is not about retribution. This matters going forward. We're in a live exercise here. We're in a live exercise here to get this right. We need to get this right. We need.
I think that's not what he said. This is an actual transcript from the whitehouse.gov website. I'm going to go down here and type in, should let us know, and skip down to that in the actual page on whitehouse.gov. And as you can see, they recorded the conversation as we ran a live exercise here. And also, you should have let us know. But I digress. Now, if we consider so far all the new information we now have at hand and the high level of potential to what it is pointing at, we could already come to a conclusion. However, I felt I needed something that was a clincher and that was putting the investigation together to do this right. We need.
Is that you, Chris? I think you came unmuted or something there. Are you trying to say something? Chris? Apparently Chris can't hear me. Hopefully y'all guys can hear me. I think Chris is, anyways, we'll keep going.
Be watertight now. If we consider so far all the new information we now have at hand and the high level of potential to what it is pointing at.
Okay, Chris, you have to keep your mic muted or it's going to cause back feeding and stuff. Okay, brother?
The final pieces of our hard evidence that will for sure sit you back in your chair with.
See, there's the shark I was talking about, the shark that's in the water back here.
You trying to say something?
No, I'm muted, but I would. Yeah, I was going to make a point if you're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear you now? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Huh, interesting.
Now I can.
I think Chris is, anyways, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
These mushrooms make you feel better.
Are you watching this on a separate phone?
Keeping you calm and stress-free. Plus, they cut down on bloat and heal your gut. Wait, and they taste good?
What Chris is doing is he's got two phones there and he's watching it and he's behind on the stream instead of watching it and staying in the studio like he should. So this is causing a snafu.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but you can't watch it on a separate phone at the same time while you're in the studio. It causes bad feedback issues, and you were about 2 or 3 minutes behind on the stream.
Yep, my bad.
All right.
With your hand over your mouth and all. That will for sure sit you back in your chair with your hand over your mouth and all. Yet I do have one more amazing possibility I wanted to show you very quickly before we do that. Remember the Shannon mine? I want you to see what the uranium looks like out of the mine as compared to another image you should be familiar with if you've been here on my channel for a while. Okay, here is the uranium. And here is the other imagery.
Here's how soldiers eliminate mosquitoes around them in just 90 seconds or less. This tiny tactical mosquito repeller is taking the world.
This is the other image, and this is, as you can see, the alleged images of the CV. And at the time when I was doing this, I happened to run across them, and I thought, that's an awful strange thing. And yet, the word CV has the word corona in it, and corona is another word for crown or a flame of fire, which is another word for shin. I don't think that's by coincidence. So, but let's keep going. He said, I think we should be going. Yeah.
Do you see it yet? I'm not saying this is absolute, but the resemblance is compelling. I just found it very interesting that the uranium close-up looks so close to what is said to be a microscopic view of the CV. You do realize that they believe that we are fools and could never, ever put a connection like this together.
And the main connection to be made there is that it is also, the word corona is tied to the word shin. It's two different languages, but it's saying the same thing. Crown of fire. Corona has to do with the corona, like around your head, a crown of fire, likely like what Father has in heaven. But it's saying the same thing. It's tied. And of course, the whole thing with the pandemic is tied to the events that are coming up. It's all tied, and again, tied to the eternal flame. But who's the eternal flame? The one that is within you, the one that it sits right between your eyes. And it sits right on top of the ethoid bone. Ethoid for ethics. It's where you get your, what fire burns in you. The fire of God or the fire of something else. And what they're trying to do is put out the fire, put out the shin in you and replace it with another fire. And that is the fire of Satan.
Well, no matter, because this next connection I'm now going to show you are absolutely mind-blowing. Okay, after making the connection with the apple and the Shannon mine's name and what its name means and where they got the name from, remember a thorny fruit resembling an apple? It made me ask myself, what kind of fruits would resemble a thorny apple? Maybe this, or this, or this. There are a few that could fit the bill, I thought. And I thought about the connections of the lotus flower and it resembling the design of a nuclear device, and both the apple and the lotus resembling the toroidal energy field of creation. So after all this discovery, I thought about it and said to myself, the last place to look for the final evidence to confirm my findings in my investigation should be to look at the ball or apple they drop in New York City each New Year's Eve for any indication that I am right. So I did look, and here is what I found. I first went to the official website of the New York City New Year's Eve ball drop events called timesquareball.net. And there were lots of imagery and alleged history, videos, and a countdown clock. I found the countdown clock variant, videos, and a countdown clock.
I want to stop it right there for a second because it comes to the realization, literally while I was meditating in bed, the Holy Spirit showed me this image right here. And I'm going to back it up a couple of frames. It's where the countdown clock is at the top, where the ball drops. Right here. Okay. These fireworks, the way they line it coming up and down here like this, the way they line it is it's symbolism for the DNA is what this is. The fire that runs within our DNA. The way they've got this constructed, you see what they've done is they've made the temple of God, which is your body, especially the Holy of Holies in your head, they've turned it into a house of merchandise and put advertisements on the image of what would be your DNA on this ball drop thing in New York City. And then they do a countdown, and all they're doing is having the people count down to their own demise, which I believe I'll speak to again here in a minute. Let's keep going.
I find the countdown clock very interesting, but mostly I want to see the ball, aka the apple, up close. So I took a look at the press tab, and it offered high-resolution photos. So take a look at what the historical photos, to start with, of the ball look like. From 1930s to the 2000s. And yes, in fact, it does have that thorny apple look to it, don't it? Looks just like a thorny apple. Really? Well, you haven't seen nothing yet. This version of the ball, aka apple, was from New Year's of 1980 into 1981, according to the information directly from TimesSquareBall.net, and I quote, "In 1980, the aluminum ball was affixed with red light bulbs and a green stem to resemble an apple. The New Year's ball was part of an I Love New York marketing campaign. For 7 more years until 1988, people celebrated by watching the apple drop from the Times Tower. So the apple ball sat atop Times Square for 8 years total. 8 is a very important number and is tied directly to this investigation. I have personally produced dozens of videos on 888 and many occult meanings and how it is tied to Trump and time. However, it is an offshoot and down a different rabbit hole, so we'll let that be for now. I will say it is symbolism for a large period of time as symbolized by the Ouroboros, or what this whole ritual is really about. The death of time, or the death of a time, and the birth of a new time. Okay, let's get back on track here. So we know what the old apples look like. So let's take a look at some of the newer ones. There is a miniature version of the apple as well, and here's an image of it. And as I zoom in, you will see what looks like a lotus flower cut into the glass. Very interesting, right? However, yes, I hear what you're thinking. Not solid enough. I get it. Okay, so let's try again. Let's now take a look at the current Big Apple that is sitting atop Times Square right now. Will we find clear evidence of a thorny apple? Behold, the thorny apple. Revelations chapter 18, verse 10. Woe, woe to that great city, the mighty city of Babylon, for in a single hour your judgment has come. I find it compelling and confusing that it is written biblically extensively about the fall and destruction of Mystery Babylon. Yet it is the dark side itself pulling off and orchestrating the fall of Babylon. They are attempting to act as God and preempt God's word. We already know that they want to be gods. We already know that they possess high magic. What adulterated gall and superhuman ego it takes to preempt our own Father's promises. May God smite them in the name of Yahushua with a full bowl of his righteous vengeance, and hold them vicely accountable for their blasphemic sins upon our Father's children. Now all who can see, now do see, that my investigation has demonstrated conclusive evidence that indeed they do intend to destroy New York City at midnight, while an estimated 2 million people are celebrating and counting down the clock to their own death in New York City. The destruction of America and the fall of Mystery Babylon, all while 1.2 billion are watching live from around the world. This will be the climatic moment of the death of the old world, like the saying goes, bringing out the old and bringing in the new world order, that is.
And you would also could say at that point as well, you could make reference to the phoenix rising out of the ashes, and that's what they intend to do. The phoenix is said to arrive every 500 years, and this is not only another 500-year moment coming up, but it is also a 3,600-year moment as well, like Chris was talking about earlier. So, yeah, we're in a reset, but not just any reset. This is the Great Reset, and that's what they call it. What God calls it is the end of the road for them. But yet, they have a short while they're going to be allowed to do these things. Yet we as people should be careful and not fearful, yet be smart, yet be gentle, and try to make our way through this and realize that this is all just a simulation, a place that we've been sent to learn, a place where we're supposed to learn and figure these things out. And I was sent here to be a teacher, and maybe not the best teacher, but I do my best. And I try to inform you of the things that Father's led me to understand, and so that you won't miss or trip or fall into the snare. So with that being said, we'll let this finish up here.
This moment still is not the end, because there is a scene I go to that shows many other lotus flower events taking place on many waters across the world. So knowing of this possibility, it makes me wonder, where else?
Well, where else will be the other countries that need to fall in order for them to bring in their World One order? So you see, as he come out across the water, and as he was crossing the water, you had other blooms going off across the water. Well, where is across the water if you're leaving New York City? Other places. Where are these other places? I don't know. But I know that there will be other countries that will, because you're talking about a nuclear weapon that has went off in New York City. They're going to have to blame that on someone. So as you can see, when you back this up, you'll see that they speed up the time before. Well, just watch this scene.
Shows many other lotus flower.
See, they slow it down. He's coming out kind of quick, Then they slow it down to show you the blooms that are out across the water leaving New York City.
Events taking place on many waters across the world. So knowing of this possibility.
And then they speed it up. They're wanting you to realize that there are other blooms. Well, what are blooms? Well, we know what blooms are now, right? We know what a lotus bloom is symbolism for. We know what the pineapple on the apple in New York City and the Big Apple is also for, and what it is, what it represents. It represents the planned end of the age and the planned demise of Mystery Babylon, the United States of America. With that being said, that does end this presentation, except for I wanted to point out, if you have not went over to the website, TheSupernatural.Show, I have another documentary over there that's called The Global Genocide Agenda Exposed. And it's another look at a different group of information and how they're pulling it off, and how you just got to go see it. This documentary there's no way that I could have this one on YouTube. That's why it's on the website, so you can still go watch it. So go over there and watch this, but also make sure you come down and watch this, because I should have added this into the documentary, but I didn't. What you're looking at here is a circuit board that goes into a cell tower. And the circuit board, right where the antenna connection is, this is the antenna connection for the circuit board. It says COV.19. Now, what is that? What could that be possibly linked to? And why is it on a circuit board that this man's installing in a cell tower? Well, if it doesn't make complete sense to you already, you need to see this documentary that I put out. So, with all that being said, you got any thoughts there, Chris, as we're at the end of the show here?
Yeah. Mike Pompeo and Donald Trump. That little clip you showed?
Yep.
Okay. All right. They're standing on a makeshift stage. They're not in the White House. There is no presidential seal on the podium. Trump says, "It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor." He just resigned. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, Mike Pompeo steps up and says, "We're in a military exercise."
Yeah, live exercise.
Right. What Trump did was he claimed a federal emergency. So all 50 states claim emergency, then the feds claim emergency. All powers of the three legislative branches, judicial, executive, and legislative powers, are handed over to FEMA at that point in time. We are now under FEMA. That's UN. And that day was 500 days, nearly exactly to the day, from when they burned Jacques de la May, the last Templar Grand Dragon. Yep. So there you go.
That's your phoenix rising out of the ashes symbolism right there. Yep. I'm actually aware of that.
And then you got
to point that out. Appreciate you pointing that out, because a lot of people probably aren't aware of that. Well, guys, I wanted to do this for y'all guys and kind of give it a little bit more information about this, but the story can go on much more when it comes to this story, because I have been given a lot more understanding about things like this right here, where they show, and I want to explain it all, but if I get started in trying to explain it in this video, in this live, I'm not going to be able to do it. After getting close to 2 hours, I can't really. It just, my mind starts melting a little bit, so I can't stay supernatural for hours on end. So But I will be bringing that documentary, the part 2 of the hidden symbolism of the end. I will be bringing that forth in the near future. I hope that all y'all guys are watching. I will consider continuing to support my work. The links to where you can support my work are below this video. You can donate as little as $1 a month, and you would never miss it, but you would be contributing to Father's work. It's less about me, but when I don't have to worry about where the next dollar comes from, which I currently am, when I don't have to worry about that, I can focus on my work and Father's work a lot better. The whole system of money was made, the whole system was put in place in order to keep us from being able to spend time understanding the way the world really works. The whole monetary system, that's why it's working against me. It stops me from being able to focus continuously on my work. So I'm asking you to consider maybe joining up for the website, being a paid member on the website. You can join as a member of one of these YouTube channels. Yeah, you can join. But what I would prefer you to do is either go to the website or go to Patreon, or if you would just rather make one donation, call it good. I don't like it that way. I would prefer to get $1 a month than I would $50 once, because if the more of the $1 a month or $10 a month I can build up, thank you so much, Patty C. I appreciate the super sticker. Appreciate it very much. But the more that kind of build up I can get, the less I have to worry about the money, because this is what I want to work on. You can see the quality of work that Father leads me to do when I'm not stressed and I am only in the spirit and working on these things. So I'd appreciate it. And with that all being said, I sure miss my sister Shannon, and I miss my brother Dan being here with us today. And but I'm sure they'll be back with me on the next show. Next show probably will be on Friday. I'm starting to try to do 2 shows a week, Monday and Friday, even though we're currently on a Tuesday. But sometimes if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to come on here and fake it. I've got to be feeling the show. I don't want to come on here to entertain. I want to come on here to enlighten and change your reality. So you might stick around. I've got a new extra that I'm going to play for all y'all guys. And y'all guys that have been contributors to the channel recently are going to be in the extra. So, and hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Peggy C, your super sticker won't be on there, but it is on here. So I greatly appreciate that. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here for today. I love all you guys. Chris, I appreciate you being here with us again. And we'll see you all guys next time here on The Supernatural Show. Don't forget, I love you. Our Father in heaven loves you too. And he would love for you to talk to him every now and then. Go to your secret place, your hiding place, your private place. Talk to your Father. It don't mean you're crazy. You'll see if you're not used to doing it. Just do it. I love you. Goodbye for now.